Hi everyone, it's James here. Welcome back to the channel and another vinyl finds video. It's been quite a long time since my last one. I must confess, I've not been listening to a lot of records over the last few weeks. For a start, my record deck is in for a much needed service. But also prior to that, it's just been too hot here in the UK, too warm to be inside listening to records. We've been outside in the garden a lot. We've been away on holiday a couple of times, so there's been lots going on. The record collection hobby has receded into the background a little bit. It'll come back full strength in the autumn. But I thought to myself, I better do a vinyl update, because if I don't, these records are going to just absolutely recede into the dim and distant past. And for that reason, I'm going to do what I don't normally do and show some records that I've not actually even listened to yet. Is there any point in doing that? I don't know really. It's a vinyl update, isn't it? It's what I've been buying. These videos always seem to be quite popular, so why not? So I'm going to start off with what I bought today. And then I'm going to go back in time a few days and then a couple of weeks and then back at least a couple of months. So anyway, we'll start with 3 books which I picked up today from Oxfam. Dead cheap. I got these 3 for a tenner. I'll show the 2 Beatles connected ones first. So I picked up a copy of John Lennon, the biography by Philip Norman. I know Philip Norman's writing doesn't always come in for a huge amount of praise. He can be a bit inaccurate at times, and I know that some of his attitudes do wind people up, myself included. But I do quite enjoy his writing. I've read his Jimi Hendrix one, a couple of other ones, the Mick Jagger one he did, so I find them quite readable, but they're not perfect. Really big edition actually, but looking forward to that. I also picked up a copy of this, which I've never actually owned before. This is George Harrison's I, Me, Mine. This is the book which he wrote years and years ago when he did the first print run. Was a limited edition where he charged, you know, whatever, hundreds of pounds per copy, and each one was signed and bound in leather. And then a few years later he released this normal reprint of it. So this is just basically pictures, but also George presenting the lyrics to a selection of his songs and just explaining you know, the inspiration behind the songs and so forth. It's quite nice because you get the handwritten lyrics, which is always quite a nice thing. So yeah, I thought, why not, let's pick that up finally. It was only £4.99, so that was good. And then lastly, a third non-Beatles one. This is a biography of REM. I'm not sure if I was aware of this or not. I know there's a couple of REM biogs out there, and a while ago I looked them up to see which one was the best. I don't remember if this came up as being the recommended one. Remarks scored out Remade, the story of REM by Tony Fletcher. So if anybody's read that and they think it's crap, don't put it in the comments. I'll find out for myself, but hopefully it won't be crap. Hopefully it'll be at least readable. I've never actually read a biography of REM before, so I thought, why not? Let's get into a bit of history of them. So anyway, yes, those 3 books. And then I didn't pick any records up from Oxfam today because I couldn't find anything I wanted, but I did pop down to the Heightside record stand and I found 2 things. One of them, just very much a collection filler really. I picked up a copy of Making Movies by Dire Straits, which is the last record I need by them. I've got all their albums now, from the first one through to Brothers in Arms, which is really all I need. So this is in good nick. Nothing much to see, no inner or anything. Did it come with an inner? I'm not sure, but on the orange Vertigo. So yeah, I'm sure I don't need to say too much about that. I know this is quite a highly regarded one, and I've never actually heard it, so I shall look forward to that. And then this one, I couldn't resist this record. When I saw it in the silver box of new arrivals at Heightside, it was £15, so a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it. But I thought, you know what, sod it. I'm going to buy it because it will make my weekend. So I did. So this is the Star Trek II soundtrack, The Wrath of Khan. Brilliant score by James Horner. I already have the soundtrack album of the Star Trek motion picture. I bought that years ago, back in the 1980s. That's not James Horner, that's the other guy, isn't it? Name escapes me. But this is a really brilliant score. I always loved the music for this. James Horner, he did the music for The Wrath of Khan and also The Search for Spock as well, and a tremendous pair of films, particularly The Wrath of Khan, one of my all-time favourite movies, absolutely brilliant. And this one is on Atlantic, so yeah, I really couldn't leave that one behind, so I thought that's coming home with me for sure. The Wrath of Khan. Okay, so going back a couple of days now, I was in Wrexham, Moonlight Records in Wrexham. Just come home from a holiday actually to the North Wales coast, so I thought I'd pop in, see what he had. Didn't have a great deal in there this time. Some of the stuff I put back, the condition wasn't great, particularly with some of his pricings I always find a little bit troublesome. But I picked up two things, and again, they're just collection fillers, really. They're things that I didn't have on vinyl, and they're two artists who, broadly speaking, I collect. So I thought I'd pick these up. So I just got a copy of Steel Wheels by the Rolling Stones, which comes from, I think, is it 89? Something like that, produced by Chris Kimsey and the Glimmer Twins. Got this one on CD already, so it's again breaking my rule about not buying stuff on record that I've got on CD. But I've got most of the Stones albums that I want now. Certainly I've got everything. If you go from, let me think, maybe from Aftermath onwards, I think I've got everything up to now this album. Don't have the ones after this, not too fussed about having those on record really. It's not a bad album. I mean, it's not vintage Stones, but it's got a couple of good-ish tracks on. Mixed Emotions was the single, wasn't it? But there's a couple of alright things on it. Slipping Away, actually, the last song on side 2, which is a Keith song, is probably the best track on here. Continental Drift is quite an interesting song. A couple of quite clunky songs on here. Rockin' a Hard Place, not a marvellous Stone single really, but I thought, sod it, why not? It was a good price. It was only, I think it was a £5 or something like that. It was dead cheap. And then this one, I've been leaving this behind every time I've been there, maybe the last 6 or 7 times. This time, I couldn't find anything else, so I thought, right, sod it, I'm just going to get it. It was one of the Dylan albums I was missing from the collection. This is New Morning, of course, which is worth having, I suppose, just for the track, If Not For You, the opening song, which, of course, George Harrison covered gloriously on All Things Must Pass. But yeah, it was one of the Dylan records I was missing, one of the more significant ones that were missing from the collection. And again, it was dead cheap, so I thought I would get it, add it to the collection. The Dylan collection is as complete as I want it to be really now. There's maybe a couple of outliers which I might need to get on vinyl, but certainly no urgent purchases needed from Bob. But yeah, nice to get it into the collection at long last. So there it is, New Morning by Bob. Right, so what have we got left then? What we've got left, we've got 3 records from Oxfam, purchased maybe 2 weeks ago now, and they're all by the same artist. I went in there of an afternoon and I went to the new arrival section, and there were about, I estimate, 7 or 8 records by this artist, and he's not an artist that generally turns up in charity shops. So I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to have to get some of these. I didn't want to get all of them because it would have cost me a packet. And I don't know too much about his discography, so I wasn't really able to make too informed a judgments. Whether I picked up the right ones, who knows? But I picked up 3 in the end. They were all reasonably priced. So here we go. So it's Roy Harper. Now, I've not listened to any of these, so I can't comment on them. But this is the first one I got. I did message my friend Rob Ison, of course, Rob here on the VC, who's a big fan of Roy Harper. And I think he did say that this was a great album. This is Folk Joke Opus, and this one comes from, I think this is 1977. There are 2 records here, I think, from 77. And this one I think is probably going to be on Harvest. I know Roy was on Harvest, wasn't he? There we go. So yeah, I shall look forward to that. As I said, I haven't spun any of these, so I can't really comment on the music, but obviously Roy Harper, great folk rock troubadour, achieved 5 minutes of fame by appearing on Have a Cigar and Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, and then went back into, I suppose you'd describe it as terminal cultdom. A greatly respected artist, still going strong now at the age of 83, something like that. Now this record, I have heard this one, I streamed this one maybe about a year or 2 ago, and I seem to remember enjoying it, and I know this is a very highly regarded one again. Check out the channel Institute of Pop, which is Bryan. He did some kind of video recently where Roy Harper featured, and he showed this record and talked about it quite effusively, I think. I think he enjoyed side 1 anyway. Check out Bryan, he's a really great channel. I'll put the link in the channel below, Institute of Pop. He does some really good videos, actually, some really good in-depth reviews, and just a really nice guy. His channel is reasonably recent, but it's growing. So anyway, back to the plot. Roy Harper. Yeah, so this is I can't even bloody say it. This is Bullin, blah 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 something. I don't know. I'll do a Steve Carlson on that one. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I've got the records in the wrong sleeves. I put Folk Joke Opus is in the sleeve for this one. So actually, that might not even be me that's done that. That's probably the guy in the Oxfam shop who's done that, because he can be a little bit unreliable sometimes in terms of which records he puts in which sleeves. So no doubt the other one is in this sleeve. Let's have a quick look and see. Yeah, so in the Folk Joke Opus record we have... Right, let's do a really good job on the pronunciation here. Bullinamingvars. 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 I did it! Bullinamingvars. There we go. Roy Harper. In the wrong sleeve. But what can you do? You just can't get the staff, can you? And then this one, this is a slightly later one. So that one also is 1977. This one is 1980. And this one is The Unknown Soldier. So Roy there looking slightly older. Got a bit of designer stubble going on this one. So again, haven't listened to it, can't comment on the music. Some interesting people on here. David Gilmour from Floyd is on here. Andy Newmark, the great drummer. Kate Bush, Joe Partridge, Tony Levin. Yeah, some good people on here actually. Really good cast of characters. Orchestra conducted by David Bedford. You can't go wrong with a bit of David Bedford orchestration, can you? Nothing too interesting with the inner here, but we're back on Harvest again. And yeah, that one is 1980. So yeah, 3 records by Roy Harper from Oxfam. I paid not too much for these. I think one of them was about £6.99 and the other 2 were in the region of maybe £8 each, something like that. So more than I want to pay really in Oxfam, but you don't see his records around too often, so I thought, sod it, why not? So there we go, a hat trick of Roy Harper. And I went down there today and the other records that were there by Roy had all gone. So obviously at some point some Roy Harper fan or some manic record buyer like me has gone in there and cleaned the shop out of all the others. So anyway, quick sip of water, it's warm here again. Okay, so the remaining few are all from Heightside Records, bought maybe 6 weeks ago now. This first one, bit of a disappointment this. I had high hopes for this record, although the cover made me laugh. This is Mick Ronson and Play Don't Worry. Now I saw Mick Ronson being interviewed years ago on, I think it was a Lou Reed documentary, and he came across as a very, very down-to-earth guy. You know, he was from Hull, wasn't he? Bit of a Yorkshireman, very down-to-earth. I have no idea what happened with the cover here. I mean, clearly he was leaned on by the record company to do some serious rock star posturing. So we've got the 2 pictures there, and then if that's not enough, on the inside gatefold we've got a couple more as well, so clap your eyes on this. So obviously Mick Ronson, the great genius who did the orchestrations on Lou Reed's Transformer, played the guitar on that record as well, obviously was inspired from Mars, David Bowie's band, really great guitar player, did the orchestrations as well on Ziggy. A great talent. Whether he was a great talent as a solo artist, well, I was going to say is a moot point. It's not really. I don't think he was a great solo artist. I think he sort of dabbled with a solo career. This is not the main famous record he did, and the name escapes me. I might have to flash it on the screen. He did one record that I think was highly regarded. I'm not sure if this one came before or after, but it's not a brilliant record. It's all right. It might end up being a collection keeper. It's a mixture of covers and originals. Bit of a dodgy version of White Light, White Heat on here, which might have been an outtake from David Bowie's Pin-Ups, actually, that I seem to remember reading. The Girl Can't Help It cover version there. A couple of originals. It's all right. It's not a bad album. Maybe I need to give it a couple more listens, but I wasn't massively impressed. One thing that I did enjoy though, that there's the original till receipt clipped to the inside, and it's from the 19th of April 1975, the Express Record Service. So that's quite nice, having an original receipt from the 1970s on the record. Sort of makes it worthwhile. But anyway, it might be a grower, I don't know. But I gave it a couple of spins a few weeks ago. It didn't particularly knock me out, but maybe worth it for the cover alone. Mick Ronson. I picked this up on the same day from Heightside. This is just a compilation. This is the John Cale Guts compilation, which collected together his the best tracks, or a selected series of tracks from the Island records he made in the 1970s. He did 3 Island records. He did Fear, he did Slow Dazzle, and the third one, Helen of Troy. And this record collects together a selection of stuff with a couple of things that were not released at the time. A track called Mary Lou, which was never released, and another song which is, let's see which one it is, might be Leaving It All Up to You, which was an outtake from Helen of Troy. But just wanted it for the collection, really. I'm a John Cale fan. Never actually seen a copy of this before in the wild. This is John in splendid fancy dress mode there, with the rather disturbing, what is it? Is it baseball mask or something like that? I'm not entirely sure. This was during the period where he was strung out on cocaine and alcohol and God knows what else. And yeah, a bit of a turbulent time in his personal history, shall we say. But yeah, nice to get it into the collection. This one was a nice find, a record I've been looking for a while. This is Millie Jackson and Caught Up, which is a bit of a deep soul classic, really. She made 2 records in the 1970s, and they come as a pair. There was this one, Still Caught Up, and the sequel was Still Caught Up, which I had already. I bought that at a Leeds record fair many years ago. Both records are about a marital breakup, and they're done in character. So on side 1 you get the songs told from the point of view of the wife of the guy that's had an affair, and then on side 2 you get the perspective of the girl he's been having an affair with, or something like that. There's a bit of a kind of tangled web of personal intrigue going on with both these records, but they're both really good. Soul music, great cast of characters. You've got the Muscle Shoals guys on here, I think. Fairly certain it's Roger Hawkins on drums. Yeah, Roger Hawkins drums, David Hood on bass, Barry Beckett on keyboards, Jimmy Johnson and Pete Carr on guitar. So a great driving rhythm section, some really good musicians, and some great gutsy singing from Millie Jackson. Nice to get this one into the collection on red Polydor. So yeah, there we go. Got the pair now, Caught Up and Still Caught Up. Nice picture of Millie on the back. Good stuff. Pick this up again from Heightside. This one, just one of the ones I needed for the collection. This is Ladies of the Canyon by Joni Mitchell, which I think this is a slightly earlier one, isn't it? It may have been the sequel to Blue. So before she started getting into the jazzy stuff. So nice to get that. Really nice copy. I'm going to do a Joni Mitchell video at some point. I'll do an episode of my series Incomplete Collections, because my Joni Mitchell collection is sadly incomplete, but I am working on it. So yeah, nice to get that one at a good price. And then 2 more. Picked this up. This is a bit of a cheap reissue of the first record by Caravan. A progressive rock band, English progressive rock band, whose work I've never really checked out. I've seen it around the place. Their records pop up occasionally in Oxfam, always a little bit too pricey, but I got this from Heightside. It's a reissue of their debut record, not with the original artwork, unfortunately, and it's on the Blue MGM label. I don't know too much about them. In fact, I have spun this record. I listened to this when I bought it, which was a few weeks ago now, and I did really enjoy it. I'll need to give it another spin, obviously, once my record player is back in from having a service. The musician that I do know from Caravan is Richard Sinclair. I know him, the bass player, because he joined Camel in the sort of mid to late 1970s, or maybe it was late 70s, early 80s, and I have the Camel records with him on. Really, really tremendous bass player. But anyway, it would have been nice to get an original copy, but I will live with that, a reissue of the first Caravan record. I'm guessing by the artwork it was a 1980s reissue on Polydor. So it was that. And the last record I've got to show today, again from Heightside a few weeks ago. I picked this up. This is, I think, the 4th record by the great Ian Hunter, and this is the one that's called You're Never Alone with a Schizophrenic, which I've heard other people comment on that title. It doesn't quite make sense. You're never alone with a schizophrenic. If you think about that, you think, yeah, the meaning of that doesn't quite hit home, does it? Not quite what you want it to say. But anyway, I don't think I've spun this, but I've streamed it. It sounds really good. It's got Bruce Springsteen's band on it. It's got the E Street Band on it. I think it's meant to be a really good one. This one on Blue Chrysalis. That concludes the selection. So a bit of a different one from me. Normally I would listen to stuff before playing, but as I said, it's just been I've just not been spinning records that much lately. So that's the way it fell today. Just a quick thing before I go. I've just been into town and discovered that our HMV is closing down. And this is the second time this has happened. We lost our HMV several years ago, and I was quite pleased to have it back, and now we're losing it again. So I'm a little bit sorry, because I do quite like going in there. I find HMV to be quite a nostalgic place. It reminds me of when I was growing up in my teens, and you'd go to our price in HMV and, you know, meet up with your mates and have a look around. So I'll miss that side of it. But quite honestly, the prices of the records in there, I was just kind of, you know, thinking today, if the new vinyl in that shop had always been priced at around £10, £12 per record, I would have spent hundreds of pounds in there over the years. As it is, I don't think I've ever bought a vinyl record from there the whole time the shop's been there. I find the pricing absolutely ridiculous. So in a way, I suppose they've only got themselves to blame. I don't know, do they need to price stuff up so much? I have bought CDs from there this time, but again, the prices are not always great. And the selection, they don't carry a great deal of catalogue, HMV. I was just in there today looking at the John Lennon CDs because I wanted to get a copy of the stripped down version of Double Fantasy I was looking for, and they didn't have it. All they had by John Lennon, they had the latest Mind Games CD remaster, you know, reissue, whatever, and they had Imagine, and they had a couple of hits CDs, and that was it. There's just no depth to their catalogue down there at all. So on the one hand, I am sorry that we're losing HMV again. I do quite like popping in there, but I don't think it was ever a really great proposition, really, as a music shop when your stock is just overpriced and you just don't have the depth of selection there that serious music buyers want. I guess, you know, sooner or later you hit the brick wall. I don't know the story. I don't know why they're closing down, but anyway, I thought I'd mention that at the end of the video, just in case anybody wants to share their feelings about it. Are you losing your HMV as well? I'm guessing that it's happening across the country again. Record shops going into liquidation. It's never a good thing, is it? But yeah, anyway, I thought I'd mention it. Right, okay, rumble over. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. Take care. Bye for now.